to the SCP Podcast, that's Society of Consulting Psychology. We're here today with a very special guest, Dale Thompson. I'm Joanie Connell, your host for today. Dale is a founder and executive chair with Leadership Worth Following. He is a huge supporter of SCP, an amazing consultant, has a great history of working with organizations like PDI and LWF, and he can tell you more. But right now, we're here to talk to him a little bit about his background, what got him here, and what he's doing with this upcoming sneak peek at a great training that he's doing for SCP. So welcome, Dale.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, this is really a special opportunity to actually talk to you and learn more about you. So, everybody knows you, but they don't always necessarily really know you. So let's hear a little bit about, tell us your history. Like, how do you explain to people how you got to found LWF? And let's start with that.
Well, there's probably two or three threads that are kind of interesting. I call myself a fourth career psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in factories for about 14 years when I was 12 years old to 26 years old, and bought a car brand new when I was 18. That was kind of cool. Have a degree in music, and I wanted to be a trumpet player, a jazz trumpet player. And I call March 18th, 1978 my sobriety date because that's the date I quit playing music and finally got applause. The world was glad when I sold my trumpet. And then coming out of that, I was in pretty tough shape, and I went in for some counseling. I was sort of in a kind of a personal career crisis. And then 2 sessions into my counseling, the counselor looks at me and says, "Well, Dale, you're really a psychologist." I looked at him and I said, "Aren't I the sick one?" And he said,
Interesting.
He said, "You're not sick, you're underparented." I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "Your parents never taught you to quit how to quit something that was important to you." And I didn't know what to do, so I just gave him control of my life for a few years. I got into psychology and loved it. I loved working with adults. I loved working with business people. I loved working with development programs and change programs and all of that. And people liked me. I got paid a lot of money, and it was just fun to have that kind of success, given how low I had been in my music experience. And so I've been a consultant most of the time since February 1st, 1982 is kind of when my career began. Had my first coaching client on February 1st, 1982. That was kind of cool. And then I took 2 sidetracks along the way to be head of HR for 2 corporations that I helped found. So so it's been kind of a motley career, but it's been fun.
I wouldn't call that motley at all. I'd call that actually quite serious once you got rolling there on this outside of the music. I mean, that's also serious business, tough one to make it in.
Yeah.
I too thought about that when I was in high school and college, but decided I needed to make an income. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, there was that too.
But it does show a lot of creativity there behind the scenes there for you.
If you want me to expand maybe on then why LWF, I mean, that's kind of a fun story
I do.
too.
That was my next question.
Excellent. So early in my career, I got very involved in founding a coaching program, the individual coaching for effectiveness program. And that's why I was hired into psychology on February 1st, 2004. And so I spent 4 years co-founding PDI's coaching program and also doing research on it. I spent 4 years doing 180 case studies and came out of that with obviously a lot of insight into people that are in coaching and how those things work. And I had sort of an interesting specialty because for some reason, I really related to people who were in deep, deep, deep trouble. And in fact, I had 9 clients fail catastrophically, many of the 9 being indicted and some of the 9 going to jail. And so coming out through that period, I developed a lot of relationships with CEO kind of people and talking about leadership and whatnot. And I started noodling on this idea that shouldn't leadership be worth following?
Wow.
And so coming after the 9th person failed and went to prison and all of that, I was talking with the chairman of Walmart. His name was David Glass at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And David and I just kept noodling on this and had this concept of leadership worth following. And then I left PDI to open LWF. And so the whole, I think the name is kind of silly. It's so long and all that, but really it's all about identifying and developing leadership worth following. And I'm still going full blast in it today. I'm now 20 plus years as a founder of LWF. We still have incredible clients and incredible team members. And it was kind of funny, actually. My chairman of my board was talking in one of my board meetings, and we were talking about marketing and all that. And he kind of chastised me and said, "Dale, your name is all you need." And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Well, because people that understand your name will want to work with you. Those that don't understand your name will not want to work with you. Save the money, just get to work." So that's kind of what we did.
Yeah. Oh, well, excellent. I mean, that's actually true. I find that I've talked to a lot of marketing people, and then people have these esoteric names you have to like look up to figure it out, right? So you really got it. It is exactly that, leadership worth following. And so you do a lot of work in like assessment and coaching and all that. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, from very, very early, the first 4 years of my career, I was just really enamored with adults in business.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it's kind of funny. I have a distinct honor. I'm the only person in the University of Minnesota Counseling Psych program that ever did their internship in business and industry. And APA put them on probation for a year because they did.
Oh, well, you really like to play with the law there a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, but I really enjoyed working with adults in business because my goal has always been to change the world, Joanie. I mean, I consider myself a speck, a piece of sand on the beach and all that kind of stuff. But I've always tried to figure out ways of changing more and more of the world. And so that's what our coaching program is all about. That's what our assessment program is all about. Our mission for many years, more than 20, was called Changing Leadership, Changing the World. And we've really sought to find different ways of changing the world in many ways as we can find. And then more specifically around coaching, I got into coaching, as I said, these high risk, very screwed up, difficult, nasty situations.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I got tired of lying, to be really blunt about it.
Yeah.
And so these companies would call me in and put me in a room, and then they would bring this very in trouble person into that room and basically say, "Dale, fix it."
Mm-hmm.
And then that person would invariably say, "You're just here to change me." And then I'd spend an hour trying to convince him or her that I wasn't trying to change them. And in reality, I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was outrageous and unethical and just felt really dirty. And so I began working on a new way of doing coaching that's built on a different set of assumptions, a different set of processes, a different set of principles. And over the years, that's become known as uncommon coaching.
Right.
And so at this point in my career, I'm 71 years old and I'm still going strong. And we are for the first time running a program for 5 months, basically called a masterclass in uncommon coaching. And this program is something we're very excited about because we actually have codified as much as we can around how we actually have this, what is uncommon coaching. And so, at multiple levels, there's probably 3 sentences I could speak to. But in the what is uncommon coaching page in the workshop, it says uncommon coaching is an approach to development that helps leaders become who they intend to be and to have impact they intend to have. It challenges traditional coaching norms by emphasizing action over introspection, openness over confidentiality, trying stuff over commitment, growth over change, and positions the coach as a catalyst, not a hero. And really at another foundational level, uncommon coaching asserts that there will be deep and meaningful shifts in beliefs, values, and perspectives beyond just skill development, but that these changes follow growth, they don't precede growth. And there's a lot behind that. But this has been just so cool to put this together. So we have 4 4-hour sessions beginning in September, October, November, and December, 4 hours each month. And then we have a 5th session at the winter conference in February. And so it's going to be a lot of sharing the philosophies, the values, but more importantly, the process. And more importantly, what you have to think, feel, and do as a coach who is committed to changing the world. And our goal is when someone goes through our full program, our full process, that they not only grow for life, but they drive growth in others for life. And so these people become our change agents in the world. And we've had just tremendous success with this. And, it was interesting. I'm in career transition these days. I'm no longer CEO of LWF. And I was kind of lost one day, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I had this thought. And so I made a list of 10 CEOs that I knew, that I liked, and I respected. And I just happened to have their cell phone numbers. And so I called these 10 CEOs, and Joanie, every single one of them took the call, every single one.
Wow, that's great.
And I talked for each one an average of about an hour. And we talked about what growing people on their staff and them, oftentimes, what that meant to them and what that meant to their business. And it was just exhilarating to hear the real downstream impact of what we did. And so I think common coaching is important. And I know people are going to say, well, what about ICF, and what about this, and what about this program and that program? And I support all of those programs. I think anyone in coaching today probably should get ICF certified because our clients are requesting it. And so it's a business decision. But there's also the book by Vicky Vanderveer and Michael Frisch on the SCP book series. It is a fantastic book. There's also a number of programs, Georgetown University, University of Dallas. So there's all kinds of programs that have very, very good, solid teaching. And we believe in those programs. But most of those programs, when I look at them, I would call what they teach is really good common coaching.
Right.
But we want to go way beyond that. And so this is not a typical skills building program for consultants wanting a coaching skills development course. This is a program that is really a master class in how you go way beyond common coaching to change the world.
And help, facilitate leaders worth following.
Absolutely. That's the whole point. That is absolutely the whole point.
Wow.
And so, and I think especially people that go through this and really dive in and take part in this, the thing that I think they're going to have an opportunity to do is to build their clientele into more of these truly troubled, deeply in trouble people, because our approach works so well with those kinds of people. Now, it also works well with just normal people who are doing acceleration coaching or transition coaching. The principles still work. But where they really are magical is with super high talent people who are in trouble, helping them get on track to where they can become the leaders they intend to be and have the impact they intend to have.
Right. So I think another word that comes to mind, rather than just like being indicted, but also just like derailed, perhaps, would be the in trouble. So things like that.
Well, several of these people that failed. Part of our research here in all of this has kind of teased something out, and that is that there's also common failure and uncommon failure.
Okay.
And the uncommon failure is catastrophic failure. And so these 9 people I'm talking about all had catastrophic failures. And in a couple of the cases, the companies ceased to exist when they failed. When they finally went down, it not only took them out, it took pensions out and career paths out and cities out. There's one in particular that when that business closed down, they lost their hospital, they lost their school, they lost a lot of police. It destroyed an entire community. And I think that if you approach coaching in the way we're going to advocate, that you can have a chance to intervene on that and sometimes make a big difference.
That is, changing the world. Yeah, that's a lot of impact for a leader to have. If you can, turn that around, it's a lot of impact on a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the ways I found that you'd have even more impact than, just a mere founding of a company is to be such a supporter of Society of Consulting Psychology as well. I mean, you've been this huge, um, uh, I guess, in terms of financially, also funding conferences and all of that. But I mean, just offering your help and guidance to people and always being there along the way. It's just something that, I'm just curious a little bit about that and how you see or what drives you to do that.
I love that question, Joanie. Thank you so much. So when we founded LWF, we 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 focused on 9 principles that we wanted to build the company around.
Mm-hmm.
And these 9 principles had a lot to do with failures we've been a part of, etc. And one of our principles was that we would donate 10% of gross revenue every month to change the world, every single month.
Okay.
And I'm talking about gross revenue, not profit, gross revenue. And so beginning in January 2004, we started investing in changing the world through investing in the world. First thing we did was establish a mentorship scholarship program in Central Texas for the middle 50% of high school students in this very impoverished part of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And as of today, we've got 400 kids on college scholarships with 800 mentors. But as a part of this, I really wanted to see if we couldn't do something to support the development of psychologists. And so beginning right from when LWF was founded, we began supporting SCP. And we have a very strong belief that while we certainly are even cocky about our own contributions, they pale into some of the opportunities we see our members having at SCP. We have talented people doing incredible things like you, Joanie. And if we can make it easier for people to attend conferences, if we can pay for programs that are richer and deeper and broader and more special, then we do that. So we have been the title sponsor for SCP for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And in fact, there were a number of years around 2009 when the economy was collapsing, we were the only sponsor. And people ask how we did that. And I said, because we are committed to investing 10% of gross profit every single month. And that's what we do.
Yeah, well, you certainly put your money where your mouth is, as they say, right? It's there,
Mhm.
and that support has been really important to SCP as well as the other organizations that you're supporting. So I have one last question for you, and I don't know, what you're going to say to this. Like, what is leadership worth following? What does that mean to you?
So that's a fantastic question. So in the first year we were in business, we'd already had coined the phrase leadership worth following.
Mm-hmm.
And so we stopped and we took an entire year and we studied failures of leadership. We studied successes of leadership. And we said, so for instance, at PDI, when I was there, we studied the top 10 people who performed, the top 10 people out of 10,000, by the way, who took our executive assessment program. And out of those 10 people, 3 of them catastrophically failed and went to jail. 3 of them, 30%. And so our when we founded LWF, it's like, that's not good enough. If the 3 top scorers in our assessment process failed catastrophically and all that damage they did in doing that, we've got to figure that out. And so we studied it for a year, a whole year. We formed a science advisory board. We formed a board of directors. We presented all the research findings to both groups. And what we really came up with is that leadership worth following is made up of 3 primary foundations. One is the capacity to lead. The capacity to lead is what can somebody do? It's the 5 factors that we all have assessed for 50 years. It's the common stuff. And by the way, it still works. It's still the most important. Secondly, we focused on the commitment to lead. There are 4 factors of commitment. That is, what do people care about? And I'm fond of saying as a joke, 2-year-olds, puppies, and executives are all alike. They do what they want.
Oh.
So we really worked hard to identify what are the 4 areas of care that leaders have to care about to have leadership worth following. And then the third construct is the character to lead. And this is what happens when the lights are out.
Yep.
Every single one of these 9 people that failed catastrophically, and many, many more, had at least one of our 9 factors of character where they failed miserably.
Right.
And any one of the 9 will take them down. And what's really interesting here, Joanie, is that getting high scores on character is wonderful, but it doesn't predict success. It doesn't at all predict success. But the absence of any one of the 9 predicts catastrophic failure. And so in this workshop, we're actually going to review that leadership model, the worthy leadership model. We're going to talk about it at a very granular level so people understand it, so they know what they're trying to do around building leadership worth following.
Well, it seems like a great opportunity for people and a very timely question, about what is leadership worth following, and all the different elements that you just said. So this is an opportunity, and we've been talking about this workshop, this course, this master class, as we're calling it, at the Society of Consulting Psychology, and you can find it on our website, societyofconsultingpsychology.org. And you can register for it. And we do have scholarships, right? Because as Dale just said, he supports people and wants to help them grow. And we want to invite people who want this opportunity, even if the funds aren't there for them. So, yeah.
Joanie, we really feel strongly about that. Sorry to interrupt you, but we feel really strongly about this because the kind of people we're targeting this run of the program at are really entry-level psychologists, entry-level consultants, and career-changing psychologists. And those are people that don't have a lot of money oftentimes because they're transitioning, and we want to help support and help enable their transitions.
Yeah, excellent. Well, you heard it here on the SCP podcast. You heard it from Dale himself, the founder and executive chair of LWF, who will actually be leading part of this, right? I mean, I know you have a whole team of people, but you'll be there yourself. And part of it's in person at the conference. The last session is at the conference in February. So we'll have some virtual and in person. Yeah.
And the flyers, by the way, have the dates of each of the 4 sessions that are going to be virtual. And we're going to limit the enrollment to only 8 people. And so we're doing that because we want to make sure that people have a real chance to interact and understand and work through the concepts, et cetera. So we'd love to get 8 and change the world that way.
Yeah, one person at a time. This is excellent. So thank you so much, Dale, for doing this podcast and also for all you do for SCP and for the world, honestly. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and thanks to all of our viewers and listeners. We're a Society of Consulting Psychology, and you can find us at societyofconsultingpsychology.org, and you can get information about the masterclass at that website as well. Thanks.